Hey there. Hi, Halleemah.
Good to see you. What's going on, Maya?
You as well. Not much. A little gloomy here today, but
Yeah, I don't have, I'm using my ring light. I don't have the natural sunlight for today, which is fine.
oh, well, the ring light is dependable, Rain or shine, we have the ring light.
Right, for sure.
Well, I'm so excited to have you on, and let's jump right into it. I'm going to give a brief introduction of myself for everyone watching. My name is Maya. I work on marketing here at Grid110. I've been with the Grid team since April. And today we have Halleemah Nash. We'd love to just give a brief introduction of yourself and your company, Rosecrans Ventures, for everyone watching.
Cool. So, again, my name is Halleemah Nash, founder of Rosecrans Ventures, and we do underrepresented talent solutions. And what does that mean? Essentially, we support those that are intersectionally marginalized in thriving in the workforce. So our clients are companies, higher ed institutions, parents, and Gen Z underrepresented talent themselves, where we do one-on-one coaching around workforce navigation. We place them on competitive and lucrative internships. And we also help to do facilitation and manager training for leaders of underrepresented talent.
Amazing. And, I'm just so excited to be here with you. And I gotta say, I love the background. I did see it earlier this week. You are repping, always repping, and I love that about you.
Oh.
Yes. So my first question is, what is the founding story behind Rosecrans Ventures? Kind of like how and when did it start, and really what was it that got that momentum to just take off?
Yeah, so Rosecrans Ventures started as a side hustle years ago, where I was really interested. I was working for an organization where we started to the mission evolved into serving high performing students, and I was very interested in serving students that sort of represent my younger self. So in 2019, I launched Rosecrans Ventures as a solution because I did see a number of folks that were undocumented and on college campuses, those that had spent time in juvenile detention center, that were trying to think about employment, women and girls in spaces that where there aren't any women and girls, folks with queer identities, really just trying to figure out how to navigate workspaces. And so I built Rosecrans Ventures as sort of an ode to my underrepresented journey. I am from generation to graduate from college. I did attend a historically Black college, Howard University. And I thought about Rosecrans Ventures as a means to be in service to my younger self. So Rosecrans Avenue is a street that goes through Compton. It goes through a number of cities, but it was the street that I traveled to navigate all of my major intersections. It was where my elementary school was located. It was where my middle school was located. It was the intersection where my first job was. And I am a firm believer that if underrepresented talent can navigate the local intersections, the interview, the internship, the first year on college campuses, navigating their first year of entry-level employment, then that'll lead them to the big, bold highway. So that's where the name and the journey came from.
Oh, I didn't even know that about the name. That's fascinating. I love that, how you're talking about the intersections and displaying that analogy for us. Great meaning, very deep meaning there. And as a founder at Rosecrans Ventures, what does your day-to-day look like? Your routine, kind of your hands-on on the ground. What does that look like for you?
So my work day, it's kind of depends on the season. I'll just kind of take you through what things are looking like this week. What's up, Kayla in the building? One of my clients and students in the call. So this week, I've done a lot of one-on-one coaching focused on college students that are trying to figure out how to secure internships for the summer. There's a lot of application processes that are September, October, and November. So doing one-on-one coaching, helping clients to develop their resumes, understand how to navigate cover letters. I also did a speaking engagement with McDonald's around their diverse talent. So that was around sort of thought leadership. I also had a wonderful opportunity to do some work with Puma, also one of my clients, as they are trying to build a workforce mentoring program. So client calls, individual one-on-one coaching opportunities. I had a chance to sit down with Grid110 this week for an office visit. That was also a part of my week. So as an entrepreneur, I know folks, if you are in the live, you might be able to relate to this. In the early stages, you are the admin, the general counsel, you're the director of operations, you're a little bit of everything. So like my work week is the mission-based work, but it's also ordering additional pens and paper for my printer. It's managing my calendar. It's basically I'm a one-stop shop as an entrepreneur. So it's the good stuff, the mission-based stuff, the exciting stuff, but then it's also just making the business work.
Totally, totally. And a lot of that, as you just mentioned, does involve you sitting down with your clients face to face. I visited your office to see how you're making that work nowadays. And then also, I'm sure, virtual as well. And I know that Rosecrans Ventures is targeted to Gen Z. So my next question is like, what about Gen Z do you find very inspiring, and kind of what's special about this generation, and what is it like working with them?
Generation Z, to me, what is one of the most special parts about them is that, Pew Research has already called out that nearly 48% of them identify as communities of color. So they are the most diverse generation we've ever seen. So my interest in Generation Z, they are also naturally They're entrepreneurial. Their swag is completely crazy. They enter into workspaces differently without feeling the need to conform, but being their creative selves and choosing majors and careers that speak to who they are and not just what might make you some money and what might get you out the hood, which is, basically my generation for the most part. It was all about conforming. And their generation is like, I'm not wearing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not like this, like I'm actually going to do what's life-giving to me. And that's a really fantastic generation to serve because they represent the leadership of our future C-suites and our future founders and our future business models that are tech savvy, that are diverse, that include voice and include story. So I really, really, really wanted to focus on investing my privilege, investing my brilliance, investing my network in underrepresented and marginalized talent that represent the future of work. And that is Gen Z.
Amazing. And I as a part of Gen Z, I can completely testify to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of like focusing now more to yourself as a founder and a long-time mentor, a long-time advocate for these communities. What is it that motivates you to do the work that you do, and where does your passion come from?
Well, I feel very connected to being in service of the younger me. I do feel like I think actively about what would have been amazing to have as I was navigating being first gen. What would have been great to know being the only Black girl in my first intern class? What would be advantageous for me to apply for or to do, like had I had the resources. And so my work is to deliver those resources. Like, what does it look like for you to be a freshman in college and not have a ton of experience, but be able to shadow a CEO in the industry that you might be interested in, right? Like I would have loved that. And that is how I operate. Like I overindulge in providing resources to this generation and to folks that don't necessarily get it in the spaces that they're in. And that motivates me. I'm, similar to Nipsey Hussle, he said, this all I'm trying to do, hustle and motivate. So as an entrepreneur, like I'm on my hustle, I'm on the grind trying to build a business. But I'm also doing it in a way that reaches back as I climb. I'm also doing it in a way that like I get to talk to these just dope young people that are in spaces all around the country. And then, from Jalisco, Mexico to Soweto in South Africa to Compton, Carson, and, Memphis, Tennessee, right? So I also get a portal into what the future of leadership is going to look like. And that's energizing. And, when I'm tired and I'm exhausted from the entrepreneurship stuff, I get to be on these Zooms and on these calls and in person with, 20-year-olds and 24-year-olds and 18-year-olds that are doing really incredible work.
That's so powerful. And, we were even talking earlier this week when we met up about how it's being a mentor and being a coach is in that position of giving, but also getting. And so I see how that energy flows through you and that plays into your motivation and your inspiration. My next question is, because we've talked so much about mentorship as well, and you fully embody the value of that mentorship and having a mentor, being a mentee, what that means. Who are your mentors? Who are your role models who have kind of been with you on this journey, probably also building the business, but just in life?
So I have a board of mentors.
As you should.
There's
As you should.
board of directors. One of them is on the live. Shout out to Yvette Ellis at Charger Help, also a Grid110 alum. For me, I believe in different voices. So I have my executive mentor that, really talks to me about quality executive leadership. Like I have my spiritual mentor from my church that, ensures that I am grounded in, my belief system and allowing that to power my work. I have my trap mentor that's like, girl, you ain't got to accept that. Like people that will give you various voices based on all of the parts of you. And so, like I have peer mentors, folks that are my age. I have younger folks. I have a 15-year-old that's on my board of directors for Rosecrans Ventures, that for Dream Hustle Code, that's building out a tech project to ensure that younger people have access to coding, right? So I believe in having a wide array of voices in friendships. And then I also have those folks that I've never met that I'm just wowed by, that I follow what they say. I follow them on social media. I read their articles. Melody Hobson is one of those people. Kendrick Lamar is one of those people that I just feel like represent showing up as your authentic and allowing that to power just amazing and incredible things that you do in the world.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's just such valuable information to see where it comes from you, and then those people who you kind of follow and use in your day to day. That's amazing. And lastly, I'm wondering, what advice do you have for other founders who are on this journey of entrepreneurship, who are going through the process of building up their business, hustling, getting the motivation going? What kind of tidbits or advice that you've picked up along the way do you have for everyone watching?
Allow the parts that make you most insecure about this journey to power you. If you feel like your pitching is not that great because you're an introvert and you don't really be trying to talk to people, allow that introversion to be a critical part of your leadership style. Lean into it. Don't feel like you have to be something else. You have to be another person. But take those parts that are really hard and lean into them. Know that those often represent your superpowers and not your weaknesses. For me, imposter syndrome is just a real thing that we have to combat as entrepreneurs. But often, I think that imposter syndrome often creeps in when we begin to convince ourselves that we don't belong in the space that we're trying to play in, right? So allow positive self-talk, affirmations, entrepreneurs that look like you, that you can just put their pictures around your computer to really power and strengthen and fortify your confidence in every single part of what you bring to the table as an entrepreneur.
Thank you. That's great advice. And I think it also reminds me of what we were talking about earlier this week, how you were saying your approach to the talent pipeline and coaching. You see what some people may see in themselves as an insecurity or a weakness, perhaps they have like a thick accent, or just a different background than what's traditionally thus far been accepted or seen and heard. That actually gives them this advantage to perhaps connect with a certain customer group, or do something that someone without that wouldn't be able to do. Mm-hmm. And that is what they can bring to the table. Amazing. Well, before we log off, I'm very curious to know, is there anything coming up, any updates, anything exciting with Rosecrans Ventures that we should be on the lookout for, in the next couple of weeks, next couple months, that you'd love to maybe tease for us right now?
Well, follow us on LinkedIn specifically. We will be launching a fellowship model. It will be a cohort model for underrepresented talent on college campuses, serving intersectionally marginalized individuals. And it will include a paid internship in the industry of your choice at the end of summer 2022. So please follow us on LinkedIn. We will be shouting out more of this information on our social media and all of our portals. But just know we are coming to a neighborhood near you looking for underrepresented talent for paid opportunities next summer.
Yes, amazing. We'll be sure to plug that link in, plug Rosecrans. And as a recent college grad, I know that that's huge. You know, we're always talking about internships. Where can we find the next internship, next opportunity? You know, those good quality internships too, where you're benefiting from the company. You feel like, of course, you're in that intern, that entry level role, but they see your value just as much as the next. So it's great to hear that this fellowship is launching, and that's what they're all about. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And often most of the cool internships, creative internships, often even engineering internships sometimes are unpaid. So, you know, we want to say Black and brown people, don't feel like because you want to work in entertainment, you have to do an unpaid internship. It's often, you know, many times you got to do that grind, but you know, if you're a poor kid and you're interested in entertainment, we want to support you so that you can still do those internships and still have a stipend. So that's the work that we are about for summer 2022.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Halleemah. It's been so enjoyable talking to you today. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And I'm just wishing you all a happy Thursday.
Fantastic. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. Shout out to Grid110. I'm going to see you tonight.
Woohoo, yeah, that's right. See you in a few hours.
Okay.
All right. Bye.